Welcome to the SuperSpeedway.
Welcome to episode 199 of the SuperSpeedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, June 15th, 2021. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, we're doing things different again tonight, aren't we?
We're mixing it up, my man. Yeah, we are inching closer and closer to episode 200. So we are doing things different, messing it up, taking up all of our bandwidth. And when we crash halfway through, we have nobody to blame but ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So for those of you watching the video later or listening to the podcast, we are doing Facebook Live tonight just for the heck of it to see how it goes. Mostly doing a test run. We didn't promote it or anything because hopefully, and we'll talk more about it later, episode 200 next week, we will do a promoted live Facebook event. Heck, maybe James, maybe we will actually promote it. I don't think you can though. I don't think you can promote in advance.
Yeah, well, we can just tell people that we're going to do it and to tell them to tune in, and we'll see what happens. I mean, we usually record about the same time every Tuesday, so yeah, it should be good. I'm optimistic, like most, I guess. I don't know.
There you go. We won't jump into this too much because I don't want to distract from everybody who's listening recorded, but Ranger Running is in the comments. So
okay.
Ranger's watching right now. So
all right.
Welcome, Ranger.
All right. Don't tell him to go easy on us.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I should tell him to go easy on us because he's watching me right now. So
yeah,
so it's going to take some getting used to. See, I still don't know what I'm doing.
Right. All right. So before we get into the All-Star race and break down last week, James, I brought show and tell this week. I talked about it already. So let me turn around here. I have behind me my Austin Dillon. Oh, I see now I don't have my view up, so I can't see myself.
You look good. It's there. You're
okay.
Good.
So
You're good.
Austin Dillon autographed Dow number 3 car. This was my Christmas gift a couple years ago. It is the only 124 scale that I physically own right now.
Yes.
I do have some that I own that are at my parents' house.
The famous garage.
Yes, the famous garage. So some of those I own, and then others that I don't own are going to make their way over here eventually. But
when you start stealing from your stepdad.
Yeah, the problem I have is that it's my stepdad's stuff, and he's like, "Well, just take whatever you want," and it's like, no, you're going to have to hand it to me because I'm not just going to randomly take stuff that you spend money on.
You got to get the paperwork. You got to, these things are, they're valuable. So.
Right. And so also, if you can't see behind me, I have my Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series.
You came way more prepared than I did tonight.
The banner is up tonight. So
kudos to you, my man. Nice work. Nice work.
There you go. So I got some show and tell this week. I had to make up for it, James, because the last couple of weeks you had stuff. So
yeah, I'll so next week I'll make sure that I bring a good show and tell, and then we'll do that for the Facebook Live event. So I'm looking forward to that. That's cool.
It's Father's Day this weekend, so maybe I can get to my parents' house and there's one specific car that I'd really like to bring and do a show and tell with.
There you go.
We'll see what I can do.
I like it. Yeah, do that. See if you can surprise me. Give me a wow factor. Go big.
Well, I think I've shown you this one before, but you probably don't remember.
You probably sent it to me as a photo.
Yeah.
But yes, that sounds good to me, man.
It's really weird because I have our video delayed like significantly right next to me on the screen, so I keep looking over there and seeing what happened 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I wonder how it sounds. Yeah, I'll have to go back and see how that went.
There you go. So James, we had the All-Star race this weekend. Last week we avoided talking about it as long as humanly possible. Mm-hmm. We can't do that this week because it's pretty much the focus of the show.
No, sir.
So I guess a lot to talk about. I guess first of all, Kyle Larson. What I mean, what else can you say? I posted on Twitter this week. I said, I think this Kyle Larson kid's kind of good.
Yeah. Well, I posted on Twitter that there's a new alpha dog at Hendrick because they went toe to toe on a 10-lap restart, and Larson took him on the high side at Texas. What a move.
Yeah.
That was probably the most impressive piece of driving outside of Christopher Bell making that amazing save that he did.
Right.
That was an impressive drive from Kyle Larson to win that shootout. That was probably I'm trying to think of all-star moments in recent years that stand out, but that one, I will remember that one. I will. That was great. Just well done by Kyle Larson.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit, James. I think we both agree, and we'll discuss it more a little bit, what we thought of this All-Star race. I mean, certainly not a top 10 all-star race by any means, but there were some memorable moments in this one, especially the pass for the win.
Yes.
So it didn't undeliver. It just, I mean, when the bar is so low,
Yeah. Restart heavy. And very gimmicky, but I mean,
they knew it was going to be restart heavy because that's why they scheduled 15 lap freaking heat races through the thing.
And it was confusing, but honestly, as annoyed as I was last week when you were reading the rules, it really wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought the coverage was worse. The point scoring system could have been done better to clarify more. I was actually texting my brother-in-law this after the race. We were chatting a little bit, and I said, I hate that we're confusing fans even more, and I just feel like the All-Star race does breed confusion. That being said, though, I thought the final 10-lap shootout was as good as it gets with mile and a half racing. It really was a great 10-lap shootout.
Yeah.
Who cares how we got there? We mucked around for 90 laps and we figured out a 10-lap shootout. If every All-Star race ends with a great 10-lap shootout, I think it's a salvageable event. Do you agree? Or
yeah, I think so. I mean, we've had 10-lap shootouts or 15-lap shootouts at the end before, and at Charlotte, we've seen the guy who gets the lead going into turn one be the one who wins the race. So the fact that we had a pass at the end, you can credit the PJ1, you can credit the lower horsepower, you can credit the aero package, whatever you want to credit for that, or just credit the on Kyle Larson for making that move, whatever you want to credit. We got something we don't normally see or haven't seen in a while in the All-Star race.
And Brad Keselowski mounted a charge, and it never felt like Larson was getting away, and I think that has something to do with the rules package. I know, Eric, we've said this many times on the show that rules package in cool weather is great. Super hot day at Texas, super slick, but the weather was cooling as the race progressed. So when we had that 10-lap shootout, it was obviously at its coldest point in that day. I don't know if that helped or not, but a lot of factors there. Regardless, great 10-lap shootout, great drive, great restart. Kyle Larson, he's just on his own. Eric, we talked about this season having parity and throw parity out the window. It's Hendrick Motorsports playground, and everybody else is just kind of living in it right now.
Yeah. Since you mentioned that, I want to ask you a question, James.
Yeah.
What significance does the date May 9th, 2021 have to you? Does it have any significance to you?
May 9th, 2021?
Yes.
That's the last time Hendrick either lost or it's when they won their first race of this little streak they're on.
That is the last time a non-Hendrick driver won a cup race.
Perfect. I had a feeling because it's been since Dover.
Martin Truex Jr. at Darlington was the last non-Hendrick win.
Yeah. So there you go. And Martin Truex Jr. has bbeen just out to lunch ever since he won that race too. So he's been he'd be my primary pick this weekend. He's the mile and a half guy on a concrete track. I'd totally choose Martin Truex Jr., but I'm not going to pick him this week because he's been a disaster. Well, and Hendrick won the last concrete race at Dover too. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll talk Nashville at some point.
This one's going to be fun.
This is going to be interesting. I don't
talk about a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot for all three series.
Yeah. We don't know what's going to happen this weekend, but Hendrick Motorsports has been winning for a good month and a half now. It's been, Eric, I heard this on the NASCAR and NBC podcast. But the comment, I think it was Jeff Burton that said it, or maybe Steve Letarte. They said, at what point do the rest of these teams in the garage look around and say, let's just get ready for next year with this new car and try to get a head start because this thing's over. Because it's really starting to become a problem.
Maybe they already are.
They might be.
Maybe that's why Hendrick is as far ahead as they are.
They really want to go after this championship and get these wins. I mean, that's definitely, I think there's something to that for sure.
Yeah, there could be. A couple things I wanted to note. You mentioned how hot it was, 145-degree track temperature for the start of this race. Probably hottest we can remember.
That would have cooked your shoes, man.
Yeah, that was rough. Glad I wasn't there. And then, you noted the confusing the fans. I, as you said, read the rules last week and I was lost on Sunday night trying to figure out. I forgot completely about the 30 lap stage at the end. That means I really
remembered
nothing.
That one. Yeah. And then there was the pit road competition that we had no idea who did what.
Well, we kind of knew who won it because they kept showing shots of NASCAR officials reviewing video on Chase Elliott's pit. So.
Yeah. So yeah, boy, I don't know if it was a NASCAR thing or a Fox thing there, but I wouldn't hold anything against Fox at this point. I'm glad they're handing it off to NBC.
I'm in a tough spot because I watch the race with the family, and the way I watch a race is I sit and watch the race and focus on the race and listen to what's being talked about. And the way they watch the race is talk about everything other than the race.
Yeah. They ask you a million questions.
No, not even that so much. I can't complain because I always say, well, why don't you guys watch the race with me? And then when they do, it's just not my style of watching the race.
I wonder if Kay's watching this right now.
Probably. So anyway, so I don't know if the race was as disjointed as it felt to me, or if it was because of how I was watching it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm looking at the results here, and I guess doing the stages the way they did it kind of did what they wanted it to do. We had, let's see, 10 lead changes among 8 drivers. You had 4 drivers that led more than 10 laps in a race that had 15 lap stages throughout. So, and it's spread around. I mean, you got Matt DiBenedetto in 17th, who led 6 laps on the day. And, from 1st to 9th, you've got drivers who led laps. So, I mean, I guess it kind of did what they wanted it to do, but I mean, none of it meant anything until the end.
No. Yeah. Like I said earlier, however we got to where we got, that setting up that 10 lap shootout, however, that's really where the money was made. It was
right.
That was the $1 million. That was the $1 million race. It was a 10 lap deal. And it looked like for a while that William Byron, I know Clint Boyer was really excited about him on the broadcast. Really did look like it was setting up really nicely for him. He was finishing well in all of the stages, just running up front, led 30 laps. He led the most. But again, it was, comes down to, as a lot of NASCAR races do, late race restart, and Larson was able to hold his foot foot down. I think he said he was trembling, or his foot was trembling, because he obviously had it on all the way to the floor. We're running that 510 package. So yeah, that was interesting comments to hear him, very excited about that move, which was really cool. But yeah, I mean, that's really, again, I felt like it wasn't that hard to follow, but boy, going into it, I was not thrilled. But again,
I went into it, James, just kind of figuring I'm just going to watch this race and see what happens. Like I wasn't going to try and keep up with what was going on, because
that's what I
kept up a little bit is because I kept being asked why they were talking about an invert,
Right. Yeah. And that's actually the one thing I do like. I mean, I'm a big fan of inverts.
Yeah. But you have to do it the way they did it, because you can't, if everybody knows where the invert's going to be, you're going to have guys sandbagging and try and get in that invert position. You can't leave it up to the fans, because the fans are always going to choose the biggest invert possible.
Yep.
So, I mean,
promoter's choice, right?
They did it. They did all right. I mean, for what we had, they did all right. It was a compelling all-star race.
Yeah. Yep.
It wasn't a barn burner. It wasn't a top 10. It was better than probably the last 5 Charlotte all-star races.
Yeah. And we got a memorable moment.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we got a more memorable moment. Here's a hot take for you. I've got some hot takes tonight, James. We got a more memorable moment in this year's all-star race than we did at last year's at Bristol.
Oh yeah. I don't remember anything from last year.
Nothing happened last year's at Bristol.
Well, that stupid neon lights that we ran in the cars, that was the memorable moment from Bristol.
All the excitement at Bristol was in the open, and I'll tell you what, the open was good again this year.
Yeah.
Especially the first stage of the open was excellent.
Yep.
All right, so just a couple notes on the all-star race here. Kyle Larson, it's his second all-star win in 5 all-star races. He's finished in the top 5 3 times in his career. Hendrick Motorsports has won its record-extending 10th all-star race and second consecutive. They won in 2020, 2013, 2012, 2006, 2003, 2001, 99, 97, and 95. And Kyle Larson becomes the 8th driver to win the NASCAR all-star race more than once. He joins the club of Jimmy Johnson, who's won 4, Dale Earnhardt won 3, Jeff Gordon 3, Davey Allison 2, Kevin Harvick 2, Mark Martin 2, and Terry Labonte 2.
Pretty good list.
Yeah, not bad.
All Hall of Famers on that list.
Yeah. So, I mean, we kind of discussed it. I think the format could be just about anything as long as we get the 10-lap shootout again, personally. I don't care what the hell they do the rest of it. I didn't like the past where they've eliminated drivers. I like the fact that the full field's still there at the end. Otherwise, I mean, we can talk about PJ1. I think they need to take the PJ1 and just throw it away.
I don't think they can at this point with the PJ1 on that track. It's so soaked in. They can't
I know
do anything
it'll be there for decades. It'll be there when they dig the place up, when archaeologists dig it up in 200 years.
Yeah. And they're like, what was this substance?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they completely ruined. I mean, Texas was never great, but they completely ruined that surface.
We need to stop putting it down everywhere but Bristol. Put it on the inside of Bristol. It works at Bristol. Everywhere else, leave it alone.
Yeah, we can't really use it much anymore. I mean, we've tried it. It's another kind of failed experiment.
Yeah.
I mean, dangerous in the IndyCar series. So
yeah. Well, I mean, dangerous in all the NASCAR series too, when that stuff's not heated up. Yeah. I mean, it was 145-degree track temperature and the stuff was still slick at the beginning. So
yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's doing the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, it created some wrecks, I guess. There were some spins that wouldn't have happened without it.
Yeah. No, Eric, I wanted to ask you really quick. I put this in the notes, but mentioned it earlier. Chase Elliott, was that the shortest Alpha Dog run in the history of Hendrick Motorsports?
I'd have to think, but yeah.
He's not the Alpha Dog anymore.
No, he's not.
There's a new guy in town who's taken all of his stuff. I'm afraid. I wonder. Gosh, it's gotta somewhere deep down. I know Chase Elliott doesn't have any feelings, but somewhere deep down inside of Chase Elliott's soul, he's got to be bothered by this a little bit right now.
Yeah,
he's got to be, right. I mean, if you're in any sort of competitive sport, you've got to be bothered that there's a guy in your stuff kicking your butt. It's just got to bother him. I don't know. Maybe he's not worried. I don't know. I don't know. The only
thing Larson can't take away from him, at least until the end of the season, is that Chase is the defending champion.
That's right. and maybe that's where Chase hangs his hat. Maybe he just says, hell man, do it now, but we'll see in Phoenix. You know, for all we know, Eric, we're going to have 400 cars racing for the championship at Phoenix.
It wouldn't be a shock, would it?
Not at this point. No.
Yeah, actually, it'd almost be a shock if it wasn't that way.
If it's not at least two, they're going to get two. They'll have a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
Kind of like Penske had the last couple of Penske's the one who's had a couple of those, but yeah, I would be surprised if it wasn't. Penske and Gibbs have done it. I think Gibbs has done it quite a bit too. So yeah, we'll see. We will see. I just when I think of the top guy at Hendrick, it's always been those extended runs. Like it's a passing of the torch,
right?
Like Jeff Gordon handed it off to Jimmy, handed it off to.
I don't know that Jeff Gordon never handed it off to Jimmy though. Jeff Gordon was still.
Well, he was always the
pretty
man.
Tight. He was quite knuckled on that torch.
Yeah, he was always the man, but on the track, Jimmy was everybody knew Jimmy was the best. When you look at the performance on the track,
Jimmy stole that torch and stuck it right with the horseshoe.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He took it and ran with it as far as he possibly could.
One other note you got in the notes here, James, I don't want to miss it, is Kyle Larson ran the Dream at Eldora.
Well, one is heat.
Yeah. and then won the All-Star Circuit Championships champions Monday night. So, I mean, the dude,
Eric, he is, I'm just so glad that we're talking about that guy again.
Yeah.
Just talent,
it was
just talent wise.
It would have been a shame if his career would have been over, considering the talent that he has.
Remember how we were tiptoeing around it? I mean, I don't think you and I ever did, but definitely Fox was tiptoeing around him at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, they can't do that anymore.
No, he's taken everything back that he's I guess that was taken away from him, or he lost. I would phrase it as he lost it.
Yeah.
And he's definitely taken everything back. And then some with a vengeance. He is, apologies to Lewis Hamilton. Kyle Larson is the best race car driver in the world at this moment. There's no doubt about it in my mind. He will race and win whatever you put him in. He's just on a whole nother level. It's just so impressive to me that he has never run these late models until last year. And he's out there competing with the best late model drivers in the world at Eldora. Hops in, wins the All-Star race, hops out, goes into a a 305 sprint car, and it's just kicking everybody's butt, man. It's just it's super impressive, and he's just what a talent, and I'm glad we're getting to see him again.
Can we get him an Indy 500 ride for next year? I want to see what he can do in an Indy car.
Yeah, it would be cool to see him give it a shot. It would.
I mean,
Heck,
Jimmy Johnson's not doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. If Kurt Busch can go and finish sixth at Indianapolis, I think Kyle Larson can do the same, if not better. So
yeah,
my thoughts.
Trying to think if there's anything else worth hitting on in this one. I don't think so.
No, I think we're good, bud.
I mean, overall, it was a good race. Yeah. Good race with a low bar to beat.
Yeah, I think I texted you and our buddy Todd in our messenger that it was a race that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I that's tongue in cheek. It was a better event than I anticipated.
So let me throw something at you here, James. I don't want to get rid of the All-Star race, but I also feel like the All-Star race doesn't feel like something special anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep wanting to add tracks to the circuit, and we've got such a tight schedule. Why don't we just scrap these 2 exhibition races that we run, put them on the schedule, run a 38 race season? You're not running any more weekends than you're already running. All those guys that aren't running those races are still running, at least in the open. Let's just put them on the schedule, get rid of the All-Star race, and just run another race weekend at a different track.
Yeah. I still think there's room for an All-Star race. I just, boy, I don't know, not to steal Jeff Gluck's idea, but I like the idea of running it where we don't run in a venue where we don't run.
That was the next question I was going to ask is, does it make more sense to run the All-Star race somewhere that's not a regular, field that we race on or compete on,
Yeah.
Jeff and Jordan Bianchi have a great article in The Athletic this week about other alternatives that they could run the All-Star race at.
Yeah.
And I agree with most of them. Honestly, James, one place I'd really like to see the All-Star race at, if we keep it on tracks we race at, put the sucker at Homestead.
Yeah, Homestead's a great track.
Man, would this be a great race at Homestead?
Yeah. We always thought Eldora would be good, and we ran Bristol Dirt. I mean, we could do something like that. I know we're going to talk SRX. But you saw the excitement around what local short track racing can be with SRX. You could explore some of the local short tracks around. I mean, hell, if North Wilkesboro gets that Marcos Lemonis money, maybe there's room there.
Well, I think we're building a place in California that's kind of earmarked for the All-Star racing.
Yeah, they're going to be stealing some stuff. Yeah. But there's ways where NASCAR can turn this event into give it a little homegrown feel. We're only running, I'm looking at the results, 21 cars in the official All-Star race, and you have all these heats and opens. There's room on a smaller venue for some of this stuff. That's an idea I really liked. But other than that, you make a good point that let's just run 38. But again, I don't know. I still think there's room for the All-Star race. Just like, we'll talk about this in a minute, not to step on our news, but it bothers me that we're not running the oval at Indianapolis, even though it sucks.
Right.
So yeah, there for me, there's still room for an All-Star race. I just, it would take some to do,
See, I'm less hooked on the All-Star race because we run an All-Star race every week, the All-Stars race every single week.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have to compete with Cody Ware and drivers like that.
Yep.
But we still run one every week. So I would, as much as I think the Coca-Cola 600 has run its course, I'm okay with keeping the Coca-Cola 600 on the schedule because of
legacy. Yeah, exactly. Legacy races.
And like you said, with the Brickyard, I am disappointed that we're not running the Brickyard 400 this year, as ridiculous as that sounds. Although I do feel like the Brickyard 400 has been a decent race the last couple of years.
Yeah. And I think part of that too, Eric, is if you can tie this in with maybe any sport, honestly. When you have a lineage of a history that's been built upon years, I know the Brickyard was a young race, but the All-Star race has been around for a long time. And you go back and to know that we still run a race that we can look back at a history of does mean something. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but it'd be like, if the Red Sox quit playing at Fenway Park, or you're a fan of hockey, the Red Wings stopped playing at Joe Louis Arena. It does take something away from that, right? When you lose some of that history,
Well, here's something. Let me throw this at you, James, because I think this might surprise you. Is that the Brickyard's a relatively young race, you say,
Mhm.
but the All-Star race is less than 10 years older than the Brickyard.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, they're still, yeah. But you know what, Eric, though, too, to add to that point, NASCAR is not an old sport either.
That's true.
Compared to sports in this country. It is very young in that regard too. So yes, I mean, we say it's a long history, but we think it might be a short history for some of these races, but really, the Brickyard being 1994 was, not even 50 years into NASCAR's existence when you think about that. So it's still very short period of time. I mean, we still have a lot of our living legends, trolling around. So,
yep. Always like to shout out the Athletics. So to go check out that article with Jeff and Jordan. Nice work over there as always. All kinds of other good stuff on
a lot of
there
good pieces from those guys this week.
Yep.
It's great work.
Good stuff. All right, let's talk some other races. There were actually races that mattered this weekend at Texas. We'll start with Saturday afternoon. We had the All-Sco Uniforms 250 in the Xfinity Series. And big shocker, I don't have a soundboard tonight, James, but if I did, I'd hit the old KFB button.
The old KFB. There, I'll do it for you.
Yeah. Kyle gets the win. One race away from retirement in the Xfinity Series.
That's what he said. That's what he said. He said when he won 100 races. That's the only reason I put that in the notes.
It's not going to happen. He's going to race.
Yeah, he's going to race as much as he can, especially when they put the Kyle Busch rules out there to keep him from racing. He's going to keep doing it just to take people off.
Yeah, he pointed out again this week that this would have been done a long time ago if they would have changed the rules.
Yeah, it bothers him.
It does.
He cares about his stats more than any driver.
Yep.
He wants those numbers. So yeah. I mean, we can save this because we're going to keep talking about it, but he's going to win that 100th race. And it's just incredible what he's done in the lower series of NASCAR.
Well, there was talk this week on Twitter about whether he can reach 300 in the top 3 series. And the argument was if he does quit in the Xfinity Series, then he's not going to probably do it.
Yeah. It's going to be hard with him only being able to run 10 combined 10 Truck and Xfinity races a year. I mean, he'd have to keep winning, 8 of those or so a year for a long time. Because his cup wins have trickled down here a little bit, unless he gets hot again. Doesn't look like it's going to be this year. So we're looking at maybe a 2 or 3 win season this year in Cup. So 300's a long way away. What's he at? 218? Something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, he's somewhere around 2, maybe it's 214, something like that. So yeah, he's got a long way to go. I mean, that with the cap and everything, it's just there was a time maybe I would have said he could definitely do it. I'm definitely skeptical at this point, though. That's a long way to go.
Anything else stand out in this race? I don't know. There's every time Kyle Busch wins. I mean, it was a dominating performance. He led 94 of the laps. Of 171 lap race.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it was a good race though.
Yeah, Justin Allgaier rallied. I only know that because I had him in our picks.
Yeah.
So he rallied to a second place finish. I really thought your boy Daniel Hemrick was going to maybe try to steal the show, but he only led 13 laps total. But another great day for Daniel. He's just had a really strong season. It is coming for that guy. He will get one at some point.
Noah Gragson finally had some luck.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
7th place for him. No laps led, but 7th place.
Yep, he did. Brandon Brown continues to impress me. I know top 15 finish for him. Jeremy Clemens, top 15 for him. All really good stuff from those guys. But again, like you said, when Kyle Busch does what he does, it's hard to find anything else to talk about. I mean, you go the negative route, I guess. Harrison Burton continues to have trouble. He crashed out at lap 163. And then another bummer for Matt Snyder. I kind of root for that guy. I like him. I feel like he's like an underdog story, but I'd like to see him have a little bit more success. But yeah, Kyle Busch all over the place. Just does what he does, man.
Yep.
It's tough.
Earlier in the day, the Truck Series had the Speedy Cash 220. John Hunter Nemechek, 4th win of the season for him, but he had to earn it against old Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott gave him a try.
Yep.
But yeah, John Hunter, I guess you got two Cup guys going. I like to pick at John Hunter a little bit, but he's doing what he went down there to do. He went down to dominate, and that is what he is doing. So whether you like it or not, or however you want to feel about it, he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Well,
he's going to win.
He's getting
He'll win a bunch
some
more.
Xfinity starts this year as a result. So
Yes, he is. He's working his way, I guess, up in the Toyota pipeline. So
Yep.
there's that. Yeah.
Yeah, park himself up ahead of Ty Gibbs if he can.
Yep.
Get in there
Yeah, it
before
was
Ty
fun.
gets it all.
Well, yeah. Well, now he's yeah. I think I was joking with you guys about that too. Now he's got to go up and compare himself to an 18-year-old. So he better win every damn race he runs in that 54 truck, or it's not going to make any difference. So
Right.
that car, or excuse me, the 54 car, that thing is Ty Gibbs is just a monster in that car.
I don't see. Do I have a penalty report here? I don't think I do. I see that Ross Chastain was DQ'd. I guess I don't know why
He did,
that was.
yeah. He it was a post race failure. Oh my gosh, what was it? I don't have it in front of me. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
But yeah, I guess not really a big deal. He's not running for points or anything.
Right.
So
Yeah, no biggie. He didn't win, so that's all that matters.
yeah. Gives Sheldon Creed another point though, because he crashed out real early again. That was the second time in a couple of weeks Sheldon Creed's had issues.
Yeah, my pick this week, and that killed me. Is now James is way ahead of me again. Stuart Friesen also gets taken out on the back stretch.
Yeah. Truck race is always, I mean, gosh dang, dude, those guys always put on a good show. I watched a little bit of the race, but a lot more of the highlights, and still, I mean, the truck series is really fun, man.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Yep. Drew Dollar had a pretty good hit too. Jennifer Jo Cobb brought out a yellow, stopping on pit road. All the good stuff. Normal truck series stuff.
She finds her way into the show.
Of course.
Yes.
And with that, we leave Texas Motor Speedway behind until the fall. And my computer keeps trying to tell me to update my password because it's annoying. All right. Let's talk some news, James. You mentioned the Brickyard is no more. The Brickyard 400 anymore. The Indy Road Course now officially has a name. It is the Verizon 200 at the Brickyard. I'm a fan of this because I'm happy that Verizon's getting back into the sport.
Yeah, we like Verizon. Obviously, they have a partnership with Big Raj. Over there at Indianapolis. But very cool. We get to keep the name of the Brickyard in the race, which I think was definitely calculated that they wanted to do that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'll go back to what I said earlier. It sucks we're not on the oval. I'm glad we're running the road course though. I think the road course is actually pretty entertaining at Indianapolis. It's got long straightaways and tight corners. It should make for I thought the Xfinity race there last year was very good. So I think it'll be a good one for the Cup Series as well. We got some good road course racers in the Cup Series. I think it'll be a great day.
We mentioned John Hunter Nemechek running the 54 in select races in the Xfinity Series this year. Probably don't need to really address that much more.
No,
not much of a surprise there.
I did put a link to TobyChristie.com in there though, just to
nice.
They've been doing it. TobyChristie.com has been doing some pretty good work with NASCAR. So
cool.
Throw the link in the show notes to their article, so maybe people can check out some of the stuff that they got going on there.
Something other than J-Ski.
Something other than J-Ski, yeah.
You can tell James did the notes because there are links to sites other than J-Ski this week.
Yeah, and we should mention John Hunter's not actually going to be racing the 54 until late in the season. We're talking playoff type late, so Bristol, Texas, and Phoenix. So, and then Texas and Phoenix are two of the last races of the year. So it's going to be a little bit before we see him in that car. Before Ty Gibbs takes over full time next year.
There you go. Brad Keselowski's being asked about his 2022 plans, and he says he can't say.
Yeah, I mean, we all know, but you know, like I feel like it's just going to be a weekly thing. I even put in the show notes, it's not news. It's just here's your Brad Keselowski update. So
I like so Roger Penske, I think, tells the full story. Jenna Fryer's tweet. Roger Penske met with media. Some of what he said on Brad Keselowski. He says, we have a contract with the rest of the season. Anything he's going to do or we're going to do, we'll make announcements properly at the right time. That's basically saying, he's leaving.
He's out. Yeah.
Will Cindric be in the 21 next year? I don't know. Can Matt DiBenedetto possibly return to the 21 next year? For me to discuss drivers, what is it, June or July? The season isn't even over yet. We haven't made any permanent decisions on drivers. There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
As they're bugging him at
was he at the Grand Prix of Detroit?
I think so.
Yeah, he man, we keep talking about this, but it's still strange to me that this is going to happen.
It's strange to me when Tony jumped ship from Joe Gibbs too.
Yeah, we'll get used to it, but Brad Keselowski leaving for
if you think about what
Roush.
Tony did, James, I mean, yeah, he went in there with a Hendrick partnership too, but that was a similar move to this. I mean, he went to maybe this is even an easier move for Brad because Brad's going to a team that has been established.
Yeah.
The team that Tony went to was not established at all.
Yeah, I remember having a pit in my stomach when Tony announced that he was leaving Joe Gibbs, and I thought, why are you doing? I mean, this literally is a very similar move. We don't expect Roush to give half the company to Brad for free, like Haas did for Stewart. But think about what that's done. I think Brad's obviously a smart guy, and he looks at what Tony Stewart has been able to build off of that partnership beyond racing on the track.
Brad's going to start. He's going to start his own All-Star series, is he?
Something like that, maybe. He's already got his own. I think we go back to one thing that Brad said a while ago. Eric was he wanted to be just like Roger Penske someday. He wanted to have businesses that supported his racing and so on and so forth. And he's got the business now. He's got the Keselowski manufacturing business that he turned his truck team into. And now with this Roush thing, if he is the heir apparent to Jack Roush in some way, he's going to have everything that he wants for a post career. So, again, we'll reiterate that again, but that's where he's, that's obviously where he's coming from, what he's looking at.
Yeah.
Future. Yep. So strange.
Let's talk some SRX, James. Before we get into it, CBS doesn't expect to bid for NASCAR TV rights at the renewal. Yep. I guess not real surprising.
No, we thought they would go after IndyCar though. But they said
it looks like I saw that NBC is really close with IndyCar right now.
Yeah, and CBS actually, the reason we'll talk about SRX in a second, but the reason SRX works for them on the motorsports front is it's in this 6-week window between golf and things that they have other big plans for throughout the year. CBS has a nice little pocket that they like to operate in with college basketball and the NFL. So they don't, bringing in something like NASCAR or IndyCar would interfere with the other things that they're really good at. Golf, they are really good at, and the NFL obviously is their moneymaker. So
it's good. I don't need a reason to subscribe to Paramount Plus. So
no.
I'm already stuck on Peacock now because of Supercross and motocross now.
I know. So. Yeah, I gotta do something because of the NBC Sports app's not gonna be around much longer. So,
right.
So yeah, I've got the whole NASCAR season coming. I'm gonna have to make a decision here on Peacock.
So, yeah, I'm pretty much assumed that I'm just gonna stick with Peacock for life now. So
yeah, they got you, man.
Yep. Yeah, Peacock, Netflix, those are done deals.
Yeah, well, when you talk about streaming services, that's a big thing for streamers, Eric, is live sports. A lot of places, Netflix does not have live sports. They cannot compete on the live sports front, but you see Amazon is into the NFL now. So,
and that's the thing though, James, is you gotta watch it. What if Netflix decides they want to make a bid at NASCAR?
They could buy NASCAR.
Yeah, right.
Like they really, like these companies, like we are getting to the mountaintop with these streamers that they are making so much money. They're going to buy movie studios and own all the movies, and they're going to start getting into live sports. It's the last frontier for the streamers. So yeah,
and don't think it's crazy because the media company bought Formula One. I mean,
exactly. I would not be surprised if Netflix, for example, bought into some sort of an NFL package at some point, like very soon.
Oh yeah.
Amazon's like Bezos wants NFL, and he's got it. He's going to get his games this year. So, and I worry that the traditional media outlets can't compete. So it's all changing, man. Next 5 years are going to be really strange.
Yeah,
be fun to watch. That's for sure.
All right, James. Saturday night, we got our first look at the SRX series, Superstar Racing Experience. I feel like every time I say that, I need to say it with air quotes around Superstar. Superstar Racing Experience. And all the superstars that came out to show their stuff lost to the local guy, James.
Lost to the ringer.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't even have his name. What was his name?
Kobe,
that's right.
Is it Dave Kobe, right?
I think so. Something like that. I don't know. I'll give it to you. So I was going to come on here and just rag on this because just to rile you up. 1.3 million viewers for CBS.
It's Doug Kobe, by the way.
Doug Kobe. There you go. It was a D at least. I don't know. I mean, it was you said that the All-Star race was a race. I mean, it was a race. It was a show.
Yep.
I was expecting kind of what we got. I was kind of secretly hoping it was a mess.
Go ahead. Why did I say that you were hoping it was a mess? Go ahead.
Just to stick it to you, really.
Exactly.
It had nothing to do with Tony or the series or anything. One thing a lot of people are sitting here trying to make this an anti-NASCAR, and
it's not trying to be. It's not trying to be.
I disagree with you on that, because I think their messaging is that they are, and they're not directly doing it, but they're making these little shots. They're taking these little things where they comment about, not aero not being an issue and no stage, they
marketing
do these things. Yeah.
Sponsors. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So they're taking shots at NASCAR, and they're trying to make themselves, or they're not helping themselves separate from that anti-NASCAR.
Well, here let me see if I can persuade you. I know I cannot, but let me try. What if they're not taking shots at NASCAR, but rather they are bringing to a national spotlight what local short track racing actually is. Local short track racing is not about aero. It is not about sponsorship and big money. It's just racing. What if that's what the XRX is trying to do? Bring a national spotlight to what local racing already is.
If it wasn't Tony Stewart, I would believe you. And I love Tony. Tony.
Okay.
But Tony's got a chip on his shoulder for NASCAR right now.
Sure. But Eric, let me rebuff. Tony Stewart, who has done more for local short track racing over decades than Tony Stewart by doing some of the things that he's done. So
I agree.
This is an initiative. This isn't a new initiative for him. This is something he's already been doing.
Yeah.
Same with Ray Evernham. Ray Evernham's put a lot of resources into local track ownership and racing. So I just feel like they saw this as an opportunity to do something like that. That is my listen, man. Agree to disagree.
Yeah, let's stop having this debate, because we have this debate every time we talk about SRX.
I know.
It doesn't matter. You're wrong. I'm right. It doesn't matter.
Perfect. That's fine.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm perfectly fine with us ending on that note.
I do want to talk about this race, though. I do too.
So, I want, and honestly, Eric, if you don't want to talk about SRX every single week, I am totally fine with that. I feel like we should talk about it today. So.
I think it's racing. I mean, if it continues to be compelling, I think it's worth talking about. First of all, it was interesting to see another network's take on racing. It was great to hear Alan Bestwick back in the booth.
Yeah. Well, let's do this, Eric.
Yeah.
What did you like? Let's do it.
I liked, man, you're going to make me start with what I like. I like Alan Bestwick in the booth. I love the drone. The drone. Let me put it this way, James.
The drone looked like a racing game a little bit.
The drone. The only thing that I'm going to miss about Fox is the drone. If NBC doesn't have a drone, because I think the drone has added some stuff. They finally got the drone right this year for Fox.
Well, they've got the technology in the drones so good that they can really bring you some angles that. And to your point too, Eric, the drone was great. The cameras on all of the cars, I thought they packed those cars with different camera angles and things. I thought they did.
I think they had an onboard camera in every car, didn't they?
They had. I think they had up to 15 different cameras per car or something. I mean, it was there was a lot.
A lot of cameras. They put some money into it, and that was good to see. I think it was absolutely awesome. I love the fact that the Ringer actually was able to compete. They say that the point to these cars is that they're designed to be easy to drive, but hard to drive fast.
Yes.
I think that might have shown itself there. So I like that. I liked the competitiveness. I would have liked to see it maybe be a little bit more competitive. But we can get into the stuff that I disliked in a minute.
Sure.
What did you like, James?
Well, I agree with all of your points, and big emphasis on hearing Alan Bestwick call a race.
Yeah.
Man, I miss that guy. And if you close your eyes listening to the race, you can almost until Danica's screeching voice came on.
Well,
you could almost imagine that you were listening to an old MRM broadcast. That's what Alan Bestwick does for me, because he's the voice of my childhood of NASCAR.
Yeah.
He's 90s NASCAR to me. So I love Alan Bestwick.
You hear Alan Bestwick, if you're like me, you hear Alan Bestwick and you picture yourself sitting in the stands at a race because you hear MRN over the speakers at a race.
Bestwick and Eli Gold does that to me too, because Eli Gold still calls Alabama football games. So once in a while he'll make it on like a sports highlight, and I'll hear Eli Gold calling football, and I'll be like, oh man, Eli Gold, that's my jam from back in the day. So yes, Alan Bestwick was number one. I thought the racing itself was very good. I actually enjoyed the racing. I liked, obviously some of the moments that stood out were not so much the crashes, but like Marco Andretti coming in, making it a 3-wide battle for lead. I thought the restarts were actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I think Stafford's a very technical and very tough racetrack, and I think that's why you saw your local ringer, Doug Kobe, go in there and basically kick everybody's butt. I liked that, and I liked the heat race format. I don't know if I liked the clock, but I liked that there was a first heat, there was an invert, and then you had to work your way up for the qualifying position of the final for the final segment.
What is the point in racing for that first invert?
There's points attributed to it for the championship standings.
Okay.
So
gotcha. See, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So each heat awards points 12-1. So if you win the heat, you get obviously you get a maximum points, and then the points double at the end of the race for the last heat, or for the third segment there. So there's something there. I don't know if I think it maybe needs to be massaged a little bit, but I do like that. Because that's something you would see at your local short track. You would see the inversions and things like that, which I actually liked. And then I think the last thing for me, Eric, packed house at the racetrack. That was cool to see.
It only seats 10,000, but
10, but
there was 10,000 there.
Yeah, and CBS did a great job of showing the energy of the fans at the racetrack. I thought they nailed it on a couple of things. That did very well for a first race for a new series. Thought they did a few things really well.
Yeah, I was concerned with going into a short track that doesn't normally have TV broadcasts. It's tough to light those places. It's tough to. Yeah, it looked like a prime time event. So they did good with that. Before we move on to things we didn't like, I do want to throw in Danica because my likes, because this is where we're going to disagree. Because now let me set the preface for this. I can't stand Danica Patrick on the Indy 500 broadcast. Every time she talks, I just want to punch my TV. But her role in this, despite her lack of knowledge, I enjoyed. I thought she did well. I think she held herself well. But as with the All-Star race at Texas, the bar was extremely low. So
tell me, how low was it, man?
It was pretty low. You didn't have to get very high off the floor to get over that bar. So,
man.
All right. Things we didn't like, James. I'm going to say the heat races. I don't like the heat races. My biggest issue is that we tore up half the field before we got to the feature.
Sure.
But probably the thing I disliked even more than that is that, and I guess I didn't realize the points thing, so that changes things a little bit. But like when I go to my local short track, if the heat race is the same field as the feature, that annoys me.
Sure. Yeah. There's no eliminations there. Yeah.
Well, we've got 12 cars. Let's run 2 6-car heat races and let them battle for inside outside positions or something like that. So we don't see the full field until the big main event.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I think that's not a bad idea. I think SRX might push back on you and say people come to see these drivers.
Yeah.
So if they're gonna buy a ticket and not see Tony Stewart on the track, for example,
right,
there could be some pushback there. But I don't disagree with you. I think that's actually pretty valid.
I don't think there's enough cars. I think
they would agree with you. I think they would agree with you.
We need a bigger field than this.
They only have 16 cars in existence right now. and I'm pretty sure, because Jeff Luck was there, wrote a good piece on this as well. But he said that there was a private drivers only meeting, and the feeling that Jeff got from it was try not to tear anything up because we only have these cars and we need them for 6 straight weeks.
Right.
So I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but that's what he was saying. So.
That right there. See, I didn't get a chance to read Jeff's article when he teased it on Twitter. I couldn't find it on Athletics site, and then when I saw it up there recently, I forgot to click on it. That I think might might be the reason that I felt, James, and I told you this week, that I felt the race felt funny. Something felt funny about it. Something didn't feel authentic. And
watching
was
Stewart, watching Stewart drive was interesting to me. He was very careful. He was very careful.
Yeah, it just something felt like we were trying not to overdo it, and almost like they were told ahead of time to ease up. And now that I know that, maybe that is the case. And I'm more accepting of that than the thought that I had, which was they were told ahead of time, let's make it a show and make it exciting and do the Monster Jam thing and make it look like it's close when it's really not.
Yeah. Slamming and banging. Yeah.
Because I was bothered with the fact that Greg Biffle came right through the entire field with tires that had half the wear on them that everybody else had, and then gets the lead and suddenly drops anchor.
Yeah, and throw that into things I don't like. I was not too thrilled about Greg Biffle getting a new car with fresher tires and able to drive through the field like he did. That kind of got in my craw a little bit.
Right.
I wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah, I mean I'm okay with the backup car thing for an IROC race. They did that in IROC. But yeah, the tire wear thing, IROC used to have, and I mean this was the first race, so they don't exactly have it, but IROC used to have sets of tires that had, 25 laps, 50 laps, 75 laps in the pit that they could put on cars if they cut down a tire.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It could be an inventory thing too. They just don't have that built up just yet. But I think, if this continues for the next couple of years, maybe that's something they would consider. So
yeah, I mean, I guess really that was about it. I mean, I thought it was compelling. I'll tune in next week.
That's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that you're going to tune in next week. That's positive.
I sat through iRacing NASCAR.
Well, they're going to be racing at Knoxville next week, so that's a reason in itself to tune in. The next 2 weeks are on dirt, and they're going to be fantastic.
I'm curious to see what they look like on dirt.
Yeah, me too.
My cousin's talking about trying to get tickets to Eldora, so I'll be interested to see what he says if he goes.
Yeah.
So
so real quick, things I didn't like. Obviously, Danica, not happy about that. Greg Biffle, not happy about that. I had an issue, and you'll probably agree with me here too. I did not like the fun flag.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I did not like the
so
fun
my
flag.
problem with the fun flag is that there was no explanation behind it except that the announcers get on and say, "Oh, by the way, we have this thing called the fun flag," and then the yellow waves.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. The driver
and we still don't know what it means.
It's just if there's too big of a lead, if they get too spaced out, they throw the fun flag.
I guess.
I don't. I didn't like that. That did not seem like I know they are doing this for the fans in attendance and the fans on this is a made for TV product, so I know the reasons why. Just doesn't feel pure to me.
I got really annoyed with all the people that watch this and were like, "Man, this is so much better than NASCAR."
It's not,
but I love the fun flag and I love the wing on the cars. It's like, guys, where have you been? Like,
yeah,
I get it. That's a select few. It's not everybody, but
yeah, NASCAR has its issues, but it still puts out a pretty good product. You can't compare the first race of this series with aged superstars and. It's not the same thing. We got to be careful. We're not doing that. NASCAR Twitter can get a little wild with stuff like that. I know not NASCAR Twitter, right? I know. It's just we got to be careful with what this is. I'm trying to temper my expectations. I was looking forward to this series. I bought the video game because I wanted to drive the tracks and all that stuff. And I'm looking forward to the tracks that we're going to run on. We've got some good tracks coming up that I think are going to be really exciting and put on some good racing. And hopefully by the time we get to Slinger and Nashville, we've got ourselves, a better feel for these cars and some rooting and gouging and some good driving. I want to see a good show. And I feel like there's something here to build on. That's the best thing that you can say.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they put together a series during a pandemic. When there's a shortage of
everything,
right? Everything. Yeah. I mean, Alan Bestrick noted that during the broadcast. It's pretty incredible what they've done. And they didn't fall flat on their face on Saturday night, which is, I mean, again, I was secretly hoping they did, but that was mostly just to get at James. I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad that it worked out well. And, I hope it's something we get to see stick around for a while. I am a fan of motorsports. And so if it's a motorsport, I'm going to be a fan of it. So I will support SRX and hopefully
Yeah.
And just don't come for my NASCAR, man.
Yeah. And if anything, like I said earlier, there's really good racetracks coming up. And if these cars can put on a show at some of these tracks, it's going to be fun. Knoxville, I don't know what Knoxville is going to be. Knoxville is a big dirt track, so they could get spread out a little bit. But Scott Bloomquist is coming to town, so we'll see if they can beat the ringer at Knoxville. But Eldora is going to be. I have high hopes for Eldora. I don't think Eldora can put on a bad show. And then obviously Slinger's coming down the line here, which I am very much looking forward to. If you're watching NASCAR and you think you've seen a track like Slinger, you haven't. It's something completely different. So it should be good. It should be good.
All right. James, you want to talk about coolers?
I don't think so.
So if you're not on NASCAR Twitter, James mentioned NASCAR Twitter. If you're not on NASCAR Twitter, first of all, Jeff Gluck put a tweet out today that NASCAR Twitter seems to be very unhappy lately. What are some things that you would like to see NASCAR do to change or to make you happy? I don't know. He must apparently felt like just blowing up his replies on Twitter. He's pretty brave for making that or putting that question out there, if you ask me. But so on NASCAR Twitter, there is a celebrity plumber. We'll just leave it at that.
Celebrity plumber. Yeah.
Who is, I guess I'd never heard of the guy before, but
you don't know who Randy is?
I don't know. No, don't name him. I'm not.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right.
Well, you listen, you have to piece that together. So famous plumber. Yeah.
No,
not Mario.
Mario. Yeah, right. I have no idea who he is, but apparently he likes to pick fights with people and make a big deal and be vocal, and
he's very loud.
Yeah, he's loud is the way to describe it. So his latest crusade, I guess, is what we'll call it. I'll call it a crusade. Is coolers at NASCAR races, because apparently Texas Motor Speedway did not allow coolers this weekend at the All-Star race. Something that he was completely surprised by, and said that it was brought up without his knowledge in advance, despite the fact that Texas Motor Speedway put out a tweet prior to the race weekend that said that coolers were not allowed. I have it in the show notes if you want to see it. It's on their Twitter account. I stumbled across it today. So here's the thing. I'm not going to go really deep into this because I don't want to give it more.
We got to make this one quick.
Yeah. Who gives a crap? Like, I get it. It was hot at Texas, but NASCAR is like the only sport where we're allowed to bring coolers in anyway. So be happy where you can bring them in. And I think this has a lot more to do with, did you think the people at Texas Motor Speedway were like, yeah, let's piss off all of our fans by saying they can't bring coolers? I'm sure it has to do with protocols and stuff like that still. Michigan had an issue back several years ago when they decided that you couldn't sell. They changed something with the alcohol sales. And so Michigan did a thing where I think one year that you couldn't bring the coolers in, and then the next year you could, and they stopped selling beer at the track because you couldn't do both. And I don't know, I don't think there's a reason that the SMI tracks are trying to piss everybody off. This plumber idiot is trying to lump in Nashville because Nashville also has a anti-cooler policy this weekend, and he's attacking SMI for it, despite the fact that in his infinite wisdom, Nashville SuperSpeedway is not owned by SMI. It's owned by Dover. So anyway, I guess you gotta consider the source, and we're probably spending too much time on this anyway.
Yeah, we are. Did you? Usually I don't push you off a topic when I'm getting close. No, I was gonna say, did you listen to the plumber on Moody?
I did not listen to the plumber on Moody. I can just imagine, because I'm sure Moody was totally in favor of the no cooler policy.
Well, yeah, anything that is pro NASCAR, we know Dave Moody's gonna do Dave Moody stuff. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Here's the thing, James. I hate having to try and get. First of all, let's put it this way: I haven't sat in the grandstands in a NASCAR race in like 5 years now, so I'm not really the right person to be talking about this to begin with. Yeah. But when I did, I'd sit in the bleachers and turn forward MIS, and to try and get through the aisle with everybody's freaking gigantic coolers that obviously didn't fit the thing outside the track that your cooler's supposed to fit in.
Yes.
So when I go to the race, I don't bring an effing cooler because I don't want to carry a bunch of crap for 3 miles.
You know what I used to bring to the race? Frozen water bottles. And I'd sit them in front of my feet, and then they would melt, and then I would have something cool to drink. Now, people who have problems with no coolers obviously are not consuming water. They don't care about that. So I don't think we're competing on the same ball field in that instance. I could care less about any of that stuff. I don't know.
If you're not coming to a NASCAR race because you can't bring your cooler in, then stay home.
I mean, yes, I agree. For some reason, racing fans and their coolers, it doesn't matter if it's your local short track or Texas Motor Speedway, fans and their coolers in auto racing, it's just one of those weird things that
it's his God-given right, James.
You sound pretty, that's a pretty good impression.
I know, got to add a few cuss words in there.
Well, and you weren't half as loud as he is, though. And you got to throw some GDs out there, and yeah,
there were some F-bombs.
Don't
even look him up, guys. It's not even worth it.
Don't give him credit.
Don't give him more publicity.
He's a friend of Chase Elliott's, though.
Yeah. Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin supported him this week too, apparently.
Oh, Jesus.
So whatever.
Denny Hamlin, man, he just, you know what he's doing.
Yeah,
Denny Hamlin. He's
stirring up crap.
He's Kevin Harvick pushing Brad Keselowski into the fight.
Yep.
That's all he's doing. He's standing behind everybody, and he wants to make NASCAR agitated.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
James, the real reason I wanted to talk about coolers is because I wanted to push off this picks thing for Nashville as long as possible.
But here we are.
I don't even know what to do. So we go to Nashville SuperSpeedway finally this weekend. I keep saying every week, like, it's next week, isn't it? Well, it is finally next week.
It's here.
Father's Day weekend, we go to Nashville SuperSpeedway. We have all three series in action. And James, it's been since what, 2011?
2011, the Xfinity Series.
Xfinity and Truck Series raced at Nashville. Cup Series has never raced there.
Brand new track for the Cup Series.
And basically a new track for the Xfinity and Cup Series too.
Well, that track's 10 years aged, so there's nothing other than configuration that make any sense anymore with this place.
So let me ask you this. What are you using as your criteria for choosing? Are you just throwing a dart at the board? Are you using the concrete surface, or are you using a 1.5 mile track?
I'm just picking fast dudes.
Okay.
Because I was going to ask you the same thing. Like, do you lean on guys who have raced here before? Guys who have raced here include, just naming a few, Austin Dillon. He's won here before in the trucks. Kyle Busch, obviously, smashed a guitar here. Very famous. I'm sure there's a handful of others. Keselowski has raced here. Logano raced here before. So just some names that you might want to consider in the past. I don't know.
James, my picks, and I get to pick first this week because I suck.
97 to 53.
Yeah.
I beat you in the Xfinity Series race, but you scored more points than me.
Note that I completely glossed over how bad I did last week.
Sheldon Creed. That's the thing. That's it.
Yeah, Sheldon Creed screwed both of us.
That's the
2
story.
weeks in a row.
Yeah, he did. He really did.
So I'm going with Mo this weekend, James. I'm going with Mo. Momentum.
So you're taking John Hunter Nemechek?
No, actually, I'm not. I am going to go with momentum, but I'm not going. The Truck Series is the only one that I'm going to surprise you with, and I'm going to really surprise you. Okay.
Let's hear it.
I am going with a previous winner from this season and somebody who has Mo right now, who's been running well, and I'm going with Todd Gilliland as my pick for this race.
Have you picked him this year?
I have not picked him yet this year.
I don't think he has been picked at all this year.
No, looking at his results, he is trending upward, and he's going to get a top 10 position, maybe top 5. So that is my pick.
Okay, very good. I'm going to pick a little differently. I can't take John Hunter. Obviously, I picked him last week.
You're going to go with Sheldon Creed so you can wreck a third week in a row?
No, I would like to take him because he's got to have a good run eventually. He'll probably win this week.
Yeah, probably.
But I'd like to save that one. So give me Ben Rhodes.
Ben Rhodes has run here, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe he did, because he was actually my second choice.
Yeah. I like the way he's just been running overall this season.
Yep.
Anyway, so.
Yep, he's a good pick. Another one that I almost went with, James. Almost went with him, but I'm too afraid that he's going to have an off week this week. Carson Hocevar is a good sneaky pick in the Truck Series right now.
He's running good every week. He's going to start making our picks board here very soon.
Yep.
We have not picked him at all this year, but we probably should start taking a harder look at him, especially if we don't have a John Hunter start, which actually heading into Pocono, we're both going to be able to pick John Hunter. So that's probably going to be you, sir.
Oh, you're already saying I'm going to lose this week, huh? Nice.
Well, you got some ground to make up. If you make up all your ground this week, then we'll see.
I like that. All right. So Xfinity Series. I'm going Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier's run here before.
He's running really well. Yeah.
He's running well. Got to go with him. So
Justin Allgaier. So I was not eligible to pick Justin Allgaier.
That is correct.
So I'm actually going to do what you normally would do. I've been trying to get him on my picks list for a while now and haven't been able to do it, but I'm going to do it right now. Daniel Hemrick.
There you go. I already have him on the board.
Yep. I have been wanting to try to get a pick on that guy because I think he's going to win a race. I should note that I think, didn't Austin Cindric win Dover? If I'm not mistaken.
I believe you might be correct.
So yeah, that's a concrete surface thing though. I don't know if that matters here. Honestly, Eric, we don't know. Like,
no,
I don't know what to tell you.
Like you said, it's been so long. It's been 10 years since we've raced here. 10 years since we've really had cars on this track.
Yeah.
It's a new track for all these guys.
Yeah.
I think that the momentum's going to start going with Noah Gragson too. I think he's going to start being a good pick here again.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So
I like where Allgaier's going. He didn't score stage points last week, but he had a great day.
Yeah.
Salvage a second place run. That's a good day for Justin. So,
and mostly only because I'm as far behind as I am, James. I am sticking with Mo here. I doubt that it's going to be a third win.
Can he get all the stage points for a third straight race?
That's
the thing.
I'm going Kyle Larson, man. I
gotta do it. Yep. I
can't not pick him being this far behind. So.
Yep. And you were not. So last Cup race you had Kyle Busch. You were not eligible to take him.
Which I feel Kyle Busch is a good pick here.
He might be. Yeah. I cannot take Martin Truex here. I'm going to stick in the Hendrick camp though to try to match you a little bit.
Okay.
And it might not be the right pick, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to say William Byron has a good day. He's probably got more sim miles.
I was going to say he's probably a great pick. He's probably got more laps than anybody. That's
kind of my criteria. Isn't this weird? Where we have nothing to go off of. So, like I said earlier, like you can go with somebody who's raced here before, like an Austin Dillon. I think Austin Dillon actually might have a good day. I think Joey Logano might have a good day. But I like Hendrick's speed. I don't know what to expect, but I'll take one of those Hendrick cars and try to match you. I'll go William Byron here.
Nice.
And see what he can do.
James, you know who else is really good at Nashville, was really good here in ARCA?
Let's have it.
Me. This was one of my good tracks at ARCA Sim Racing. It's probably my best track that I ran. I did not win here, but it was really good. This and USA were my two great.
I don't remember ever having a game where I could run here. Yeah, none of the games I used to play had Nashville on there. So I don't think I've ever raced here. I wish I did, but I don't.
The closest I ever came to winning a race in ARCA Sim Racing in my league I was running was right here.
You know who was great here and who should have came out of retirement to run a race? Carl Edwards.
Yeah.
A lot of races.
Michael Waltrip has a win here too.
I think he does. Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Yep.
He's got the one where everybody wrecked on the backstretch, doesn't he?
Yeah. Didn't oh man, hold on. This is live. Wasn't there a wicked flip at Nashville?
Yes. Joe Nemechek flipped on the front.
That's it. Yes, Joe Nemechek.
Yep.
Yep. Hold on, I'm looking it up right now because I want to see it for myself. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. He flipped and drove around the track afterwards.
Yeah.
Yep. 2009. So there's a YouTube search for you. 2009. Joe Nemechek flipping at Nashville. Kind of caught the announcers off guard if I remember correctly. Right down the front straightaway, right in the tri-oval. Yeah. He car completely flips and he just keeps on trucking. Off he goes. So that's a good one. Yep.
Carl Edwards has 5 wins here in the Xfinity.
Yeah, he dominated this track. Absolutely dominated. Every time we came to Nashville, Carl would win. Just dominated it.
Yeah.
There's some good picks this week. I like that. It's kind of a wild card, which I like. Eric, my question for next week though, what are we doing with Pocono?
I don't know. That's right. We have to figure out Pocono, don't we?
We have 2 Poconos we're going to have to preview. So do you get to pick the same driver for both, or we'll have to convene on that?
Yeah, we'll convene on it. I kind of feel like
we have some Facebook comments from our Facebook watchers here.
Yeah, I feel like the way we're doing it this year that we need to pick separate for each race, in my opinion.
That's fine with me.
Especially considering the way the Harvick pick worked out last year.
Do what you did last year and screw me again and get 2 picks in a row.
Well, I'm gonna get to pick first again anyway. Remember?
It's true.
So let me tell you the biggest travesty of this weekend, James.
Hit me.
It is that Joe Nelms is not doing the pre-race prayer for this race. You remember Joe, Pastor Joe?
Pastor Joe. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Very rambunctious.
The best invocation ever in NASCAR history. Boogity, boogity, boogity. All that.
Didn't he do Talladega Nights?
Yeah, he did the Talladega Nights thing.
He prayed to baby Jesus.
Yes, it was really good. But he is not going to do the pre-race prayer and the invocation this weekend.
That's funny.
Yep. Very disappointing. So Fantasy League. I didn't even look at Fantasy League, James. How bad did I do on Fantasy League this week?
Good. The good news is, Eric, you did just as good as everybody else.
Yeah.
There was no fantasy results.
Oh, that's right. There wasn't a fantasy. That's right. Duh. All right. Yeah, forgot about that. In that case,
isn't that a relief to not have the fantasy?
It was
league?
really nice to not have to do it.
If Ranger still run, if Ranger is still watching, I was gonna say if Ranger's still running, he definitely is still running. If he's still watching on Facebook, damn, man. That's all I have to say. Damn.
Yeah.
That's it. There's your fantasy update.
And then shout outs. James, you got any shout outs this week?
Yes. You want to go first?
I kind of already did mine with Jeff and Jordan with The Athletic and the work that they did this week. So that's pretty much mine. I feel like I had another one, but I can't for the life of me remember what the heck it was. It was probably YouTube or Instagram related, but I can't remember. So
yeah, I'm trying to think if I had any, but I guess anybody who's watching on Facebook Live, I'll just say, hey, thanks for watching this first one and tune in next week. If you've got any racing fans who you think might be interested, let them know.
There you go.
We're going to be doing some stuff next week on Facebook Live, but we appreciate the support.
There you go. And since you mentioned it, next week, 200th episode for the Super Speedway podcast.
Can you believe it, man?
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like James said, we'll be broadcasting live on Facebook as we did this week. We will schedule it in advance. So we will actually have a specific time. James and I will convene and decide what time we're going to go live so we can hit it within 5 minutes at least. So everybody can prepare if you want to join us. Maybe if we get some people in, I'll figure out something to give away. I don't know what, but we'll see.
Okay.
So check that out. Facebook.com/TheSuperSpeedway. You can find us there. Come join us, hang out, be part of the show. We'll have some fun and celebrate 200 episodes, which is insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
We'll have to, man, I don't know. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, for something that we do just for fun, it's still pretty cool that we're gonna do it. So we'll reminisce next week. I won't get all sappy now. So
there you go. James, where can they find you on social media if they want to chat with you during the week?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperSpeedway on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSuperSpeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find podcasts on there, old episodes, links to show notes, links to articles we discussed in this episode and previous ones. You can find past race coverage, hopefully future race coverage, hopefully some Michigan coverage coming up here in just a few weeks, James, a month or so. And then, so check that out there. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, wherever you found us today. We hope to subscribe and continue to listen. And we're on YouTube. If you search for Dream Bigger Media on YouTube, you'll find the podcast on there as well. James, we've been getting some views.
Yeah, that's
not
great.
Spectacular, but we've been getting some views, so that's good. It's good to see people want to apparently see our faces for some reason.
That's fine with me.
I went all out this week with the NASCAR sign in the background. I got the LED lights going back there. I don't know if you noticed that.
I see that. Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, your studio's looking pretty good.
Yeah, starting to get it set up. I spent 10 minutes working on it today.
The glare on my bald head is matching your neon light.
There you go. Perfect. We hope you join us next week to celebrate 200 episodes. We'll break down Nashville SuperSpeedway. Hopefully a great weekend of racing. And we'll be back next week to discuss it all. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.